My name is Monique Chandler-Waterman. I'm a candidate for City Council in District 45. Right now, we're at our campaign office at 4111 Glenwood Road. It's Assemblymember Nick Perry's club, RACDEM, so I'm honored to have his endorsement as well as utilizing this space. Campaign is going on pretty well, and as you know, a campaign is run by the people, so as much I need more volunteers and people on the ground, more bodies out there to help as we run this campaign together. For the past 20 years, I've been boots to the ground as an advocate, as an educator or organizer, a mother, a leader, and a vital voice in this community to make sure that we continue to improve the families in this district. Some of the ways I've done that is by starting a 24-hour child care facility and then evolving to a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Together in this community, we have fought for affordable housing and dealing with the affordable housing crisis by combating bad actors in housing, by partnering with organizations that best serve the community needs. We have done for education. I have fought against forced co-locations in schools, advocated for more funding and after-school programs to ensure our children have the best education possible. And when it comes to public safety, I fought to end gun violence and gang violence through a holistic approach by launching several anti-violence initiatives. We do shooting responses, Occupy the Corner, anti-violence marches, and resource fairs, and partner with other organizations to take on this issue head-on. When it comes to policing, there's an issue in our community where it comes to training with police officers, so over-policing when it comes to stop and frisk, and also when police are responding to those who are compromised with mental health challenges. I believe that there need to be more agencies involved. NYPD should not be the agency dealing with those who are motion disturbed or compromised mentally. So my proposal is always to have Department of Health and Mental Hygiene come into the community. I've successfully done that in many of traumatic situations, such as Dwayne June and with Shaheed Vassell, making sure that Department of Health come in and help deal with the situation with the trauma of the whole community. About 10 years ago, a 9-year-old boy was shot, just riding his bike. And at that time, there was multiple shootings. So we decided enough was enough. So I spoke to the council member, Jumaane Williams, at the time and said, I want us to launch an anti-violence march to raise awareness with what's happening. But we don't want to just tell people to march. We need them to march to resources. They need to march to job opportunities, march to activities that the youth can do in the summer. We had summer youth applications ready. We wanted to make sure that we're not telling people, don't pick up a gun, don't do the violence, and not give them opportunities and options that they could get involved with in a positive way. Well, I've been boots to the ground. I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. And when I see there's a problem and that there needs to be a solution to it, I find those solutions. As a mother of 4, as a community member, as a child who went through a lot of hardships, I want to make sure our community members get the best in this community, and I continue amplifying their voices in what's needed. So if that's a march, if that's a protest, is that making sure we create programs to make sure our community members have resources, that's what I'll do. So that's my premise, and that's what I live by, and that's what I make sure that I do for our community. What sets me apart from the candidates in this race is I've been boots to the ground, like I said, for over 20 years. So I've been doing the marches, creating the marches. Not only do I see that there's an issue that needs to solve, I start a whole nonprofit organization, build structures and build programs from scratch. I cannot say any of the candidates have done that. And to tell you the truth, I'd rather focus on what I do and what I bring to the table and what I have been doing. And this wasn't for me to run for city council. Councilmember Jumaane Williams asked me to run about a couple of years ago, and that's not what I was going for. But organically, I have progressed into that position, and I know I'm the best candidate for this job to represent District 45. For the breadth of knowledge of being an executive of a nonprofit that I founded, that I built from scratch, to being an employee of City Council have afforded me the knowledge for this community I intend to serve. So not only as a mother, as a community member, but as an executive director and a founder of a nonprofit, to working for City Council, All of that combination has given me the wealth of knowledge to make sure that this community gets the best representation. And I'm the one who can represent. I'm not going to be, nobody's going to buy me. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. No, I believe what I believe, and I stand by my word. I'm not going to twist it, and I have my community behind me. When you go to city council, you are representing over 150,000 to 200,000 people. My community members need to know that I'm representing them the best way I can. I have to sleep at night. It's not about a popularity contest. It's about what's needed for the community. When I help the community, I'm helping my family. I'm helping your family. So I want to make sure that that is conveyed. So that's what makes me the best candidate for this job. I am a product of the public school system. I went to PS 135. I went to My 11 Junior High School, where I met my husband. My mother also went to My 11 Junior High School and PS 135. I also attended Boys and Girls High School, and I went on to pursue my Master's of Business Administration from Metropolitan College of New York and pursuing my PhD. Being a mother of four definitely comes with its challenges. As a teenager, I met my husband, like I said, at My 11 Junior High School. So we've been married over 17 years. I have 4 talented children. And when I had my first child, I knew that despite anything, I was going to make sure my children get the best education possible and was not going to go through the hardships that I went through when I was growing up. So with that premise, my husband and I always had a vision to make sure that we do the best we can, not only for the community, but for our children. So we work hand in hand in partnership. So my husband totally supported me with this decision. He made sure that we had the right things in place. I have my mom who supported me. I have family and friends. So all of that together, it takes a village to raise a child. That's why I named the organization East Flatbush Village. And not only do I do that personally, but I take that to the community as well. One of the things that I want to bring to the community is a monthly meeting where the community members are connected to the legislation that's passed and the budget. I want to make sure our community members understand what's happening in City Council and just have a full understanding so we know how to rally and advocate for things that we need. When I sit in City Council, I want to make sure that the community members' voices are heard when I'm sitting there. Well, for my record, my proven record of over 20 years, since Jumane's been in office, I met him about 10 years ago, and I decided to join his campaign because I believe in his mission and his vision for this community. Ever since then, I've been side by side with him, so much so he asked me to work for him as Director of Community Outreach. And together we combated bad actors in housing when it comes to affordable housing crisis by partnering with organizations that could best service the needs of community members. We also fought to end gun violence and gang violence through a holistic approach through the number of anti-violence initiatives and mental health initiatives that I've started in the community. And also when it comes to education, making sure we fight against forced co-locations, advocate for more funding, and making sure we have more funding for after-school programs. Those are things we have done together, myself and Councilmember Jumaane Williams, in the office and out the office as an executive director of a nonprofit. So I've seen the vision. We have a lot of alignment with our visions, but then there's a legacy that he has started, and there's a legacy that we together as a community is going to build. So the biggest issue, I would say, is displacement of our community members. So I'm not telling people where they can live, where they can't live, but I want to make sure we preserve the community members we have. A couple of days ago, I was speaking to one of the parent coordinators with one of our schools in the district, and she said her daughter goes to the school, and unfortunately, after years of living here, she has to move because the prices are too expensive for the housing and for rent. So we need to make sure that we are keeping as much of our community members in the district and making sure that they can live in a district where they provide services and they add value. So that's what I'm going to focus on as your council member, is making sure that when it comes to any development that's coming into our community, that is responsible development when it comes to land use, and that we're paying attention to rezoning and making sure that it's reflective of our community members and it's going to benefit us, not only with affordable housing, but make sure jobs are available for our community members as well. So we want to make sure that we're keeping as much as our community residents in our community. They've been here for years. They added to this dynamic. We want to continue working with them. As I said before, Jumaane and I are very close with alignment with mission and vision. I remember having a conversation with Jumaane about mental health. I was like, I go to counseling. You definitely should go to counseling. It's difficult doing all the things you do and not be able to balance that in some way. And I was so proud of Jumaane when he came out, when he did that public advocate speech, and he said, I go to counseling for the past 3 years, and men out there in the community should be able to go and not feel that there's a stigma attached to it. I fought hard to reduce the stigma in this community when it comes to mental health by having monthly mental health first aid trainings for the community at large for free, by partnering with Thrive NYC and Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, and also becoming a trainer myself. Many of us have individuals that are suffering mental health issues in our family, but we are afraid to talk about it. We are told culturally not to talk about it. I want to reduce that stigma and make sure that as a community, we feel holistically we can help each other. And the first point of it, or the first step, is to start talking about it. So I'm very proud of our council member for bringing that to the forefront. Some of the things also is that Councilmember Jumaane Williams was one of the first electeds to bring forth participatory budgeting, where $1 million of his capital budget is spent by community members. And I thought that was so empowering to have the community members being able to take part in that process. So when I was in his office, I launched that and brought that to the forefront, where we had high school students learning how to procure funds from a capital budget of $1 million. So we were successful in Tilden High School, not only writing a proposal, but speaking to the city agencies and connecting with the principal to ensure that they also advocated for the voting and was able to secure money to get field lights and also renovate their library, which was over $1 million. So educating the community, again, is one of the things I'm most proud of, and Jumaane Williams gave a lot of platforms for us as a community to be empowered and to be educated around budgeting and legislation. I am very, very proud of Jumaane Williams because he first introduced me to what a real elected official can do. I would say him and Assemblymember Nick Perry is the first ones I met. And working alongside with Jumaane has shown me that you could stand on your morals, you could stand on your positions, you don't have to alter that or change that. You could be who you are. And Jumaane has showed me as an elected official, yes, you are human, and you're going to fight for the people. So Jumaane always says, I have my people behind me, and that's who I'm working for. I'm working for the people. And that's something that I believe in his actions and his talk, that he makes sure that he puts that forward. And like I said, I would look forward to building. I'm encouraged by his foundation that he's laid, and I look forward to building on the legacy and creating new legacies in this district with our community members. I'm excited what we started, and as your next council member, I look forward on what's to come. My track record, my proven track record has shown that I've advocated when it wasn't popular to advocate against stuff or protesting against. I've always been on the front lines, and I will continue to be on the front lines. As I've partnered greatly with NYPD, but I'm also going to call out when things are not done justly. So everybody needs to be held accountable, whether it's the mayor, whoever it is, we all need to be held accountable. And I'm going to continue doing that because I've done that in the past, and there's no reason why I would change that moving forward. So I would say, what you have to do when you're choosing a representative is look at the background, look at the history, look at what the consistency is. And when you see that, then you will know who's who. Nobody has to tell you. Do the research for yourself, and you will see who's who. Who's been boots to the ground, who's been talking the talk and walking the walk. And that's Monique Chandler-Waterman. Taking a holistic approach to deal with gun violence in our community, we have launched the Occupy the Corner in our community, where we have solution-driven conversations from about 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. I partner with 67 Precinct Clergy God Squad. Special shout out to Pastor Monrose. Partner with Council Member Jumaane Williams and other organizations to deal with this issue head on. We speak to members of the community late at night to find out how can we help with the violence or gun violence gang activities in the community. And from there, we create programs, and we don't just stop there for 6 weeks in the summer. We continue throughout the year by organizing tenant associations and block associations and making sure we create programs to help the community members. So we get the information directly from the streets, boots to the ground, and implement that into programs and resources that our community needs. So we go to hotspot areas. So what does hotspot mean? That means that there was a recent shooting, there is gang activity, there's drug use. I go to those corners, those blocks that really needs help and support. I don't believe in calling the cops on our neighbors. I believe in having conversations about what can we do to help with the issues. Whether some people may say they have an immigration issue, that they're selling drugs. So we help them, point them into the direction of speaking to an immigration lawyer. There's many things you could learn by treating people as human beings. We could be good people making bad decisions. I learned that at an early age, and I vow to never judge anyone. I'm going to look at them as human beings. They could be my brother, they could be my father, my sister, or my mother. And we all as a community need to realize we need to take a village approach when it comes to helping those in our community. A lot of people do say, and a lot of people are afraid to go out at night from the hours of 10 to 2. What I always say to them, well, not only do we go out, we pray. So I'm out there with the God squad, right? So I'm out there, God is always with me, and we have the pastor that's praying. But I find that when you treat people like human beings, there's nothing to be afraid of, because we're all one people. And I get a lot of love from the streets, and this carry over to the daytime. So when they see me, it's not just for the lights and cameras. When there's an incident in the community and they've seen you night after night in the summertime organizing a block, you are able to de-escalate and help the situation better because you wasn't there for that one time. You was there consistently. We need consistency in our community, and not just for the lights and camera, not when it's just time to run for any position. You need to be there from the beginning. And what I've showed the community is I've been there with you. I'm going to fight with you. I'm in the trenches with you, and I'm going to always advocate for you. I have your back. You are my family. You are my friend, and I love you. And that's what I put out when I'm out there. So when you come with that message, people believe in you, look them dead in their eyes, and they know you for real. It's real recognizes real. And that's the platform that I am on when I'm outside on the streets. So I have no fear. So ironically, from What's Up, everybody knows Sean Walsh, who's the producer of this whole entire show. He has called me on an occasion to speak about a friend who had a son who was involved with gang violence or getting into a gang. You need a person you could count on, a person you can call that's going to help you with the situations in a time of need. I've been that person, not only for Sean, but for other community members. And I will, as your council member, I will continue to build on that work and continue being that vital voice and making sure our community members are dealt with, helped, and are heard. What's up? Shout out to the parents and families that I have worked with through East Flatbush Village, Inc., to my family members as well, and to all of you out there. I would like to say what's up to What's Up, Sean. Thank you so much for supporting me for the past 20 years. Your work is impressive, impeccable. You create a safe haven. People may not know this for youngsters. Back in the days, you have done that. You'll continue doing that, and by exposing the media. And I'd like for you to continue working in the path of working with youth. I would like to thank my mentors, Assemblymember Nick Perry, for supporting me for the past decade, Councilmember Jumaane Williams, and thank you to Councilmember Antonio Reynoso for endorsing me, as well as Assemblymember Nick Perry for endorsing me. Stay tuned for the rest of the endorsements that will come out, and thank you so much for all your support.